I redid exactly what he do, go over everyone, and then I saw the letter of introduction from him. He's from Central Florida, okay? He lost a child, and he recovered from that, and also he has early steps on his early life, and he got up, got his education, and now he's a great, great candidate for our city. He's a Magic fan, which I don't care, but it seems to be the best qualified person for our city, okay? My other rankings have been Mrs. Davis, but now having this information, which is great to have, because I noticed that she was able to get grants over $1 million for their particular cities. I thought that was a benefit to any city that will be managed by her, but that's a very concerning issue. And then third one, Mr. Dougherty. Those guys, I think they will have been great for our city. So, Mr. Andrews, the rest, they have the ICMA, Mrs. Hayes had ICMA credentials, and Mr. Suggs has ICMA credentials, but nobody else besides them had the ICMA credentials, which I think it is a prerequisite to run over a city, you know, and that's my take on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Amoroso.
Hi. So I went through all the applications, and what I did was rank them by, I didn't rank them, I wrote out the population of the city and how many years they were there. So that's how I compared everything, their experience compared to how long their longevity in a city of a certain size. I do have a major issue with the email that went out from the consultant saying that Sarah Pascal was not eligible because of her lack of experience naming, I'm not a fan of her, but the fact that James Glenn is on here, when it says that she lacks code enforcement, land planning, zoning, economic development, public works, utilities, parks, recreation, and stormwater, which he has none of those. So he was definitely my last one on the list. And like you said, there's other life experiences, but the major thing the city commission wanted was city manager experience. So I'm not sure, but my top three are following most everybody here. Doc, I'm not going to pronounce his name, because it was a city of 27,000 for 3 years and then 6 years somewhere else. And he also headed Parks and Recs for 1.5 million, population of 1.5 million. And Carmen Davis was my second choice because I also read that article on her, and the three who were against her saying she didn't do anything. But then the two other people, the compliments that they had on her was a very nice fit for Deltona, that she's calm, that she handles people well, that she deals well under stress, which that stood out to me. You know how our commission is, you know how stuff goes down here, 3 like them, 2 don't, but that stood out to me. So that's why I made my picks, and that's how I decided. I can't turn off my mic. So.
Oh, very good, thanks. Member Bryant.
Okay, well, for transparency, I didn't know any of them from the beginning to the end. I do have some questions, though, because I had asked about, I thought we were going to be able to have them like in here where we could interview them, and I didn't realize that we couldn't, and I had reached out about whether or not we could contact them and was told, well, we could, but we shouldn't. But so my question for all of you is, did anybody have conversations with them, any of them? And did the commission have, well, the commission can't answer because they're not here, but did they have contact prior to any of them?
I can't answer for the commission.
I know. That's why I said.
Yeah.
That's a question I have in my head. So.
Yeah. I mean, speaking for myself, I did not reach out to any of the candidates. When we come around to my turn, because I don't want to be disrespectful and interrupt your time, I'll kind of share with you what my thought process was on that.
Okay. Well, and the main reason was I had asked was because I was the one that asked about Sarah Pascal. I'd also mentioned Tondra Davis, but also knew that she came from a very, very small community, and that probably wasn't going to work, but I was curious to find more information on her. But I was having difficulty finding a lot on Sarah because I thought she would have been a very viable candidate, and I would have liked to have reached out. So I didn't at that point, and then when Mr. Bengziger answered that, and then he put those answers into a format where everybody could see. Okay, but whatever. I wouldn't have minded at least interviewing her and having a chance to talk with her. For everybody else, Mr. Andrews, he looks really good on paper. Boy, I'll tell you what, he looks good on paper. Here's a couple of issues I have with him, is that in his very first statement on his packet, he said he spoke with colleagues and area leaders from Deltona, in Deltona. So who did he speak to? That's why I was wondering if anybody had spoken to him there. Did he? People from the commission. So that concerned me a little bit. The other thing is, I know he brought he brought all this stuff into the cities and stuff, but can we really bring all that stuff to Deltona? Where are we going to put it? So if he ends up being the candidate of choice, that's fine. My other thing was, so as he was working through some of these cities, he was using it to his school, his dissertation, exercising his skills, and then just moving right on up. And it's not a bad way to do things, but is he looking at Deltona that, look at this place, it's a mess. I'm going to come in there and I'm going to put my skills to the test. And then he's going to, move on. So I don't know. I sometimes you get a funny feeling about people. Like I said, he looked really good on paper, but I get a twinge. I had picked Suggs and Davis. I also read some about Davis. My understanding is that some of her issues with the commission was they were wanting her to do stuff she didn't feel comfortable doing, and those things she didn't feel comfortable doing were things she ought not have been doing. I don't think that we need a city manager who's going to come to knee-jerk reactions. I think we need somebody who's going to kind of take his time and chew on it a little bit. And I felt like that was the case with both Suggs and Davis. I can't even rate Hayes or Glenn. I said no. Hayes, I think, has some issues with some of the other cities she worked at, and I'm not interested. And then Doherty and Miller were just kind of okay. Miller had, honest to goodness, looking through all this stuff, and you think Deltona's got issues. We're not the only ones out there with shenanigans. And so the guy from Miller left his position up in Virginia because of similar issues that we have down here, as it did most of their staff walk out. So, and Silverman, I mean, he's okay. But so Suggs and Davis were my top two. But that's what I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Where's the bartender?
Member Fix.
So, all kidding aside, it's almost like you laid this page out almost in a ranking that I had formatted. When I read Andrews, I liked what he had to say. I liked his introduction. I liked what he did. And I don't know any of you as well as any of these candidates. So you guys have a little bit more experience. You're in the city. So as far as the interviewing process, I'll let that up to the professional ones in this field. However, common sense is my game. Doherty, I had him down as well, and I did. I have Jason Glenn. I'm a military guy. When you're a major, full bird colonel, you run things, you manage things, and as far as learning, every candidate that's coming in here is going to learn as they go because they don't know the city. It's different. So, and colleagues calling in to find out what information. If you're applying for a job, you better ask somebody to know a little bit about the city. Because if you're not doing your homework, you're probably not on this list. So that's all I got to say. Those are the three, and the rest just fall in sequence.
All right. Thank you. Member French.
Okay, first of all, I want to say the Cover letters were interesting, but I also have to understand that cover letters are often written to match a job description. So though a lot of them sounded really interesting, I wanted to look more at their experience and try to find out more about their background beyond their experience. I'm only going to be recommending 4 on the list. I thought that Chris Miller was jumping around from jobs too often or too much, and we don't need that. We need somebody who's going to stay here and try to tackle the challenges we have here. Mr. Glenn, I had reservations about him because of business, and it was just like a flag that came up to me. I want to make sure somebody is going to be giving their full attention to us and not have it divided onto other personal interests. Robin Hayes, I actually did a dive on because I know someone who served on the city of Mount Dora. So I was able to get a little bit of background, personal impressions on her. And I was told that she's very good with finances, but she's a control freak and she tends to micromanage. And that to me made me think more of Jane Chang. So she's not on my list. Mr. Silverman, I just don't think he has a wide enough range of experience for the different things we have here. And based on those things I was able to find as I went through all of this material, I'm only going to be able to recommend, for me, 4.
Thank you, Member French. Member Haynes?
Okay, so Mr. Andrews is definitely, he was my top pick as well. I think he has a lot of great experience there. He's also worked with cities that have higher population. Those that had, like, we had one that was 27,000 residents, one had 30,000 residents, somebody else had like 42,000 residents. We're a city of almost 100,000 residents. We'll probably hit that next year, I would imagine. I feel like even though all of these candidates have some really good experience and background, but my concern is, you have a city of 27,000 and a city of 100,000. It's just a much larger responsibility. I come from, my old world was retail management. You're going from a store of, or a staff of 3 to a staff of 500. You don't have somebody from your local small mom and pop dollar store style running a Walmart supercenter. It's just, there's a step that goes to it, and I just feel like possibly that could become a stumbling block. So I'm kind of debating still, and I'm listening to all the feedback. So I've got Mr. Andrews for sure, and then I'm still on the fence for the other 2. I only had 3 that I really felt were really good quality candidates from the list. That's it for me.
Thank you, Member Haynes. So before I jump in, I just because I know folks are probably already starting to think about their ranking. It's my understanding, and Joyce, please correct me if I'm wrong, that we need to all rank at least 5, so it's a consistent approach, so it doesn't skew the numbers if folks rank a different number of applicants.
Yes, because it's gonna make a difference if not all of you vote for the exact
Right.
amount. It's going to change those numbers.
So we do all at least need to vote for our top 5. Yeah, no, go ahead, and then I'll come back to my comments, yeah.
The thing that I don't get, if we're not rating all 8, like, say just Hayes, I didn't vote for her at all, so she would get 0 from me. So wouldn't that skew it anyway, since we're doing lowest? Like, shouldn't we rate every single one, the 1 through 8, to get an accurate number?
Joyce.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you're ranking the same amount of candidates, you should be good.
Okay, so then it sounds like, let me just restate that, so we're all under the same, moving forward in the same way, and that was a great call out, Rachel. We need to rank all 8 on the candidates, 1 being your top, 8 being your least, and moving on from there. I'll be brief because I know everybody's already starting to write down their rankings. For me, similar with Mr. Andrews, so I don't need to restate that. I just think, for me, it's someone who can come in and probably start managing things day one, right? May have a slight learning curve like everybody coming into a new place, but at the end of the day, the processes are the processes, the departments are the departments, and I felt like he can come in and really start to make a difference right away. I will say my third candidate, because I'm solid on my three, and this is a different candidate I haven't heard brought up, so I thought I'd try to give him a little plug, was Michael Silverman, and I'll explain why. I kind of discounted him at first because the city he comes from is fairly small, and maybe didn't have the largely enough experience as everyone else, although he does have previous city manager experience. But when I looked into him, it sounded like some parallels to Deltona. So his current city, when he stepped in as a city manager, they were running at a deficit, a $14 million deficit. They had the highest rate of leadership turnover in the last 18 months than the city had had in its history. They had a fractured city council. Yeah, right? And during his tenure, he eliminated the deficit. He has the council now working as a team, and he actually got investors to invest $54 million in their city to help with their infrastructure issues. So, to me, he's, I mean, not my number one, not my number two, but he was my number three. And that's all I have. All right, so at this point, why don't we all take a few moments? Let's go ahead and do our rankings. And again, just as a reminder, we will be ranking all 8 applicants, 1 through 8, 1 being your most favorable, 8 being your least favorable. Joyce, if you don't mind, Joyce, I'll ask you to come around and collect the forms, so I'm not touching them from everyone. And then once you do that, we'll go ahead, after Joyce, if you collect the forms, we'll take a brief recess so Joyce can tally the votes.
Okay, so just to be clear, we're now going to rank all 8. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, do you have another blank sheet?
Joyce has those on her desktop.
I started running the whole group.
That's me too. So I'm like, she won't be able to read all my notes.
Toys together for the kids.
Right. Exactly.
Is that all right? I got cross out. Is that, can you clear enough? How do you do that? That's not good.
Okay, there you go. Choice, sorry.
Are we going to recess? We're going to recess?
Oh my God. I heard the first two guys that you want to do I don't know. I get 20 emails from these people. Like, oh my God, how do we feel it?
All right, we'll now take a 5-minute recess for Joyce to tally the applicants. And just as a reminder, Joyce asked me to remind everyone, we still cannot talk about our votes as she's tallying them. All right, excellent. So I believe at this time, Joyce, if we may ask you to read out the results, and just so everyone knows, I believe Joyce is just going to read out the final results, but the individual results will be available through public record for anyone that would like to look at those.
Correct, and I'm just going to go in order just like it was on your ranking sheets. So Andrew Scott got 19. He is the lowest. Carmen Davis got 54. Dale Doherty got 29. Jason Glenn got 71. Robin Hayes got 62. Christopher Miller got 60. 60, correct. Michael Silverman got 50, 50. And Terry Suggs got 51, 51.
Can you repeat those again?
So Scott Andrews, 19. Carmen Davis, 54. Dale Doherty, 29. Jason Glenn, 71. Robin Hayes, 62. Christopher Miller, 60. Michael Silverman, 50. And Terry Suggs, 51.
Excellent. So at this time, if there are no further questions, Joyce, do we need to take a vote to submit these to the City Commission?
Right, and again, determine how many you're going to submit to them.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, so based on this calculations, the rankings will be, Andrews will be number 1, Dougherty number 2, Silberman number 3, Sox number 4, Davis number 5, Miller number 6, Hayes number 7, and Glenn number 8, correct?
That's what I got, so we're either both right or we're both wrong.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, oh, I'm so sorry, Kathy. Yes, Member Bryant.
Look right every once in a while. I had to think about it. That was my right. Yeah, you're right. Joyce, actually, when you said the individual results, you meant these individual results and not our individual results, correct?
Right, I didn't read what everybody...
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't read what everybody put on their ranking sheets. Like Tara said, those are
Okay,
available
I
for
mean-
public record. I don't know if you guys want me to read them all out or not.
No, I just
Okay.
wondered what.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just the
Not
totals
a big deal.
of all of everything that I've entered.
Okay, sweet.
But our individual votes will be available. Okay, sorry, just wanted to clarify. All right, so can we get a motion if there's no other questions? Kathy, is that a legacy question or did you have a new question? All right, I was looking right. May I get yes, sir. Yes.
Do we ever have the opportunity to meet or at least see a video of the candidates?
It's my understanding there will be a meet and greet of the final candidates. They'll be bringing them in, and there will be an opportunity for residents to meet those candidates.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
I don't know what the commission's going to do going forward. I can only tell you what my experience is from the last couple of times where I was involved in it. There's a certain amount of expense with bringing the finalists in, housing them, feeding them, interviewing them, setting up that whole process to do that over a 1 or 2 day period. For discussion, and if this is the way the group wants to go, then I'll put it in the form of a motion. My recommendation would be that we suggest the top 3 with 4 and 5 being alternates and limiting it to those top 5 now that we've done that. I think that's kind of in line with what the commission wanted guidance on. Doesn't mean they're going to follow it. Certainly their prerogative to pick anybody off the list and do anything they want with it. But That would be my suggestion, that it seems we feel strongly about the top three, the numbers kind of reflect that, and then to address your concern in case somebody were to drop out, then we wouldn't have to repeat any of this process. We'd be giving them a good, strong 5 to go for. So if there's consensus to that, then I'll make that in the form of a motion and see if that gets a second, unless anybody's adamantly opposed.
Anybody adamantly opposed to that?
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay.
I don't know that we were there. I don't know that we were there yet, but we got one quick question.
The only reason I'm saying that it should be the top 5 is because of how close it was, 50, 51, and 54. I mean, 3, 4, and 5 is within 4 votes of each other, so that's pretty close. So I think the top 5 should be set. That's just my opinion.
So I think either way, we're submitting the top 5 to the commission with 3 and then 2 alternates. So either
I'm suggesting we send the top 5 to that we
with
because
no
the votes
alternates.
were so close. Yeah. If you want alternates, you have the 3 alternates, 6, 7, and 8. Just my opinion. Just because it was so close, 50, 51, and 54.
That's a very good point. So perhaps maybe send the top 5 to the commission, and then the commission could decide if they want to invite them all in or just the top 3.
Sometimes face-to-face is better than paper.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
So I'm
And I see Lynn nodding her head yes, too.
With seeing the heads nod, then, Madam Chair, I'll go ahead and make a motion if you'll allow that.
Yes, please.
I make a motion that we submit the top 5 candidates to the City Commission for their final interview process.
Do we have a second? Motion made by Member Novick, and I think it was seconded by Member Frank. Delisa, thank you. I couldn't see that. I couldn't see on the angle. Joyce, are you good with us just did you want to do a poll vote, or are you good with us just voting like we normally do?
I'm good either way.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. There being no further business, Joyce, well, before I close out the meeting, just quick, Joyce, do you want to quickly talk to us about what happens now? Are we disbanded as a committee? I believe the committee needs to be sunset.
So I won't sunset the committee until we know that, we've gone through negotiations. We've got a signed contract, because at any point, this whole process could change. And I don't want to disband you ahead of time. So right now, I already have the agenda memo ready, but I've put it out to the end of May for right now, and I can keep moving it. So I'll try and keep everybody, as posted as I can. I know next Monday is a workshop, 5:30 to 7:30. Then they have the special commission meeting where they're going to select their finalists. That's at 7:45. Then we have set up for that Friday, next Friday, is the candidates will come and do a tour. They're going to do that 1 to 4. Then we've got the meet and greet, which is 5:30 to 7:30, I believe, in here. We could not get the center, unfortunately, so we had to do it in here. And then Saturday morning, we have an all-day right now tentative schedule for interviews, one-on-one with the commissioners. And then at 6:30, they will come down here, I believe is what we have it scheduled for the full commission to interview those same candidates that they interviewed upstairs individually. And of course, that's open to the public.
So the existing published schedule is still on track?
As of right now, it's still on track.
And you will email this committee if there's any changes?
Any changes, yep. When I know, you'll know.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So so then we are all still under the sunshine, just as a reminder. And just, Member Bryant?
I'm sorry, Joyce, I thought the meet and greet was from 6 to 8 on Friday. Did I have that incorrect? And then when you talked about the commission interviewing as a whole, what day was that going to be?
That's going to be Saturday night.
That's what I was, and it'll be videoed?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a special commission meeting, so yes,
Okay,
it'll be
perfect,
just
'cause I
like
had
every
a
other meeting.
obligation
And I
otherwise.
believe the reason we changed from 5:30 to 7:30, because it was kind of coincided, the meet and greet, it kind of coincided with what we do for workshops, so we thought it would kind of be
That's fine. I just
easier
wanted
for the
to
public to know the time.
I didn't want to
guess.
show up till 6 and then
Yeah.
out. Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. So there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.